And we are back with more on Leadership Matters with the People's Doctors, inspiring, informing leaders, inspiring solutions. And for those who are joining us, myself along with Dr. Loretta, Dr. Cheryl, we are examining this thing called rogue leadership. It's our series on team leadership and really thinking about it from different perspectives and really just starting to delve into this whole thing called rogue leadership. But I think it's a very powerful discussion we've had thus far. Let's examine the rules that goes along with being a rogue leader. And I call them invisible rules to some degree. Every organization has unwritten rules, things nobody really questions, but everybody follows. No one questions, but everyone follows. And so, what are some of the most common invisible rules you see quietly killing team culture? If I can ask that question. And Dr. Sher, what do you think of how would you respond to that?
I think one might be people going along to get along. So group thinking, like nobody really is willing to step out of the norm of what is being expressed in voice. I think another thing I see sometime on teams is that it's not overtly stated with regards to what conversations need to be had before meeting, what conversations are they open to have during the meeting, and what needs to take place outside of the meeting. It's invisible, so people don't know. So when they go into a meeting, they think that the person who's facilitating the meeting is, or a person in the meeting that may have a particular topic might be asking for input. And sometimes they're not really asking for input. Sometimes they're asking for validation. And then they get their hands slapped or ostracized because what was being sought in the meeting was validation and not truly input. And so we pretend sometimes in meetings that the sausage is being made in the meeting when really the sausage is made before the meeting and it's just being served in the meeting.
Right, right, right.
And, so I think those can lead to some team dynamics that get a little dicey. It's not clear as to what's appropriate for discussion in the meeting and therefore what needs to happen before or after a meeting.
Right, absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
Dr. Retta, how about you?
Yep, I really like that answer, Dr. Cheryl.
Mhm.
One of the things I thought about, and I think because it happened to me a lot, and I see it still happen to some people, is that work comes before everything.
Mhm.
That sometimes people feel like I can contact you 11:30 at night. I'm not having any boundaries as far as you have a personal life that you need to take care of. And for some people, it's like, oh, okay, well, I've been contacted by my boss. I better do this. I better get it done. But what about that person's health, that person's well-being? You need some time to, as Stephen Covey said, you have to sharpen the saw. You really do. Because after a while, you're going to get dull. You won't be focused on things that you need to do. So I think that there need to be those boundaries. It's like, I don't mind. I'll work. I'll give you 100%. But there are times when it's like, okay, this is my time either with family or this is my time for me. Block out my me time. If all I have to do is sit and meditate, and we had a show last year on the wellness of leaders and wellness, and that is really important. And sometimes I think because you feel like you're always fighting fires or people need to be available because you are thinking of it. No, be respectful for those boundaries because that's going to make somebody, they could either get sick or they're leaving.
Absolutely. Great. Great. Appreciate that. Thank you. Dr. White, I think you've got this next question coming up. Yeah.
Okay.
Love the responses. Powerful. And those invisible rules, they will get you.
Yeah. So this question, I'll say we talk a lot about psychological safety on this show, and how does that then connect to a team's willingness to really question rules?
That's a tough one, Dr. Cheryl. I think they are connected, right? They are almost the same
Definitely.
conversation. Psychological safety, quote unquote, is really about this. Do people on your team believe they can tell the truth without being punished, ostracized, disconnected, right? And if the answer is no, if people have learned that challenging the way things are done gets you labeled as difficult or gets you quietly passed over, then the invisible rules will never be touched. Nobody challenges what they fear. And so, what I've seen in organizations with strong psychological safety, for instance, is team members do not just complain about what's broken, they bring the solution. They bring observations, they bring data because they trust that their voice matters. And that trust does not come from a poster on the wall that says, speak up. It comes from a leader who has consistently demonstrated that hearing hard things is more important to them than being comfortable. And I challenge the notion we don't have enough rogue leaders. They're almost non-existent. And I love for you two ladies to push back on me. I just don't think we have enough of them. I think they're few and far between. They're very sparse, very rare. You find a rogue leader. And I think one of the premises for me in terms of this show, today's topic is really to birth and encourage more rogue leaders to start to show up. I just don't think we have enough. But I digress. But that's how I respond to that wonderful question, Dr. Cheryl.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Dre. Dr. Loretta.
I agree with Dr. Dre. One of the things with psychological safety that we do talk about a lot, and you bring it up a lot, Dr. Cheryl, is that people do need to feel safe and there's not going to be any retribution. It's okay for me to question even a decision that the leader might say, well, this is what we're going to do. It's okay to ask why, and you are comfortable enough where you're going to get an answer. I realize there are times when there's proprietary information. You can't always talk about everything, but at least you can bring it up. If they can share it, they will, and you don't feel like, oh my goodness, they're going after me. There's going to be retribution. I'll never get promoted now. It's like you don't want that type of an environment to work in. You want to be able to talk to your leader, and is that leader even approachable? A leader that's actually approachable, because some of them go in the office and you never see them. So is that leader even approachable for people? So that's what I think about it.
And no, I agree. Psychological safety is definitely connected to the extent to which someone's willing to ask a question. We typically say, as you pointed out, both Dr. Dre and Dr. Loretta, trust is critical. And the higher the trust, the more open the communication, certainly including someone's willingness to ask questions. And I think also recognizing that we can ask questions and we can challenge without being challenging.
Right.
And so
Yes.
there is a way to certainly be a courageous leader and at the same time be tactful in how we approach situations.
Right. But both of you would
Absolutely.
certainly agree with me that we do not have enough courageous leaders. We don't have those rogue leaders. And again, I'm calling you a rogue leader. I'm just calling it out. But both of you would certainly agree that they are very far and few. We don't have a lot of them. They just don't really exist. Every once in a while you'll find a rogue leader, but that doesn't exist. We don't have courageous leaders. We need more.
Well, I wouldn't say that we don't have them, and I don't say that, and I would say that we don't have a lot of them. Would I say that we need more of them? I'd say I think we need more people willing to stand on principle. And I think that that's really it's being courageous and willing to stand for what's right, which is very different than I'm just being difficult about everything. I think people have to be able to choose their battles, and courageous leaders willing to stand on principle. I think we do have many of them, and I think people choose their battles and they choose what will matter and what won't matter. And where Dr. Loretta started, recognizing what we have direct control over, what we can influence, and what it's outside of our control is part of the wisdom. If it's a practice, if it's again, how much of a principle are we talking about? And what is it worth? Because the best way to address an issue is to be able to go up and make sure that those individuals who you are supporting, because everybody's operating on someone else's delegated authority. So Can I stay in alignment in this particular situation and thing that I'm pushing for? And is it worth getting out of alignment if it's a principle, if it's an ethical issue, which again is going to be different than if it's just a preference.
Mm. Okay. All right.
And I'll just add to that. I do believe there are rogue leaders, and I believe that there is a generation of them not trying to be disrespectful when they're questioning things or the way things have been done. Because sometimes, and I say this, and I believe the person is, oh, what? I think I think the person is a millennial or whatever. but but doesn't mind asking the leader or anyone, well, why do we do it that way? Or and it's not trying to be showy or anything or disrespectful, but sometimes they come with some better ideas where you can do things more efficiently, and they're willing to speak up. But I have seen it among I want to say I've seen it among more a different generation, as opposed to some who have been in the organization a long time. But this is always the way we've done it, and we're not going to do anything differently. So I do think there are the rogue leaders. I think they're coming. A lot more are coming. Some are there, but I think more are coming. And they are going to question why things have to be this way when maybe there's a better way to do it that's better for everyone, not just one person or anything. So,
Well, I do think it goes back to what I always say, the culture becomes it's being modeled, supported, and rewarded. I do
yes.
believe the generation of probably our children, excuse me, had more probably latitude to express themselves without being told, children need to be seen and not heard, stay in your place. There were messages that have passed down through generations. And I also think that how we respond to those individuals who speak up, who share their thoughts, and so on and so forth, if what gets modeled when these behaviors come forth, we will have people continuing to lean into taking the risk of sharing their ideas and their thoughts and their feelings, because that's trust. So if it's a trust
Yes.
encouraging behavior, or say a trust encouraging environment, and therefore psychological safety is high, then we will have individuals continue to be willing to express themselves. But even those millennials who come into the workplace, over a period of time, if it's not rewarded, if it's punished, if it's not encouraged, we can find that those voices may get tamped down, and they may not be willing to. Human beings are psyches. When we say psyches, they mean they are intentional beings. People do that which benefits themselves. And hopefully they look for what will benefit others as well.
Right.
But over a period of time, there's that tension between how much risk is wise, how much risk am I willing to take based on this situation? So do we encourage even our millennials and others who might come into the workplace to be willing to state something that's different than the norm, or push for something that's different than the norm?
All right. And we are up against another break. I just continue to question if we really have a lot of rogue leaders. I'm going to still say no. There's not a lot of them. If you disagree with me, drop us a line at Leadership Matters questions at innovisions.org and say, hey, I'm a rogue leader, and this is why. I'd love to hear your story. If you are a rogue leader, love to hear that story. But we've got to take a break.
We know you're a rogue leader.
Oh,
Yes,
no,
we
no,
do.
no, no, no. I am a safe leader. I'm a comfortable leader. But look, we got to take a break. We'll talk about that on the other side of the break. But when we come back, let's talk about the people side of Rogue Leader after we take this break. So stay tuned. We'll be right back with more on Leadership Matters with the People's Doctors, informing leaders, inspiring solutions.